That any better?
Yes,
Check
that's
one,
way better.
two. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I
Cool.
know what. Yeah. All right. Always start over.
Yes. Well, my name's Josh. I'm a DJ and an MC on Bourbon Street, and and I go by MC Popsicle. That's my moniker.
Awesome.
But we'll just jump into it. Um, how you doing, buddy? It's so nice to meet you. I love all your work, and it is just phenomenal to get to speak to you.
Hey, man. Nice to meet you too. I like your shirt and
Oh yeah.
very that's very timely. Yeah, man. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on. Like 15-year-old me is peeing my pants, and by extension, regular me is peeing my pants as well. I love you guys. I may sing 1985 more than you do. I'm not sure, but I have to go on stage, and that's one of my songs that I sing like every night on stage. So I see you and hear you like every single day.
Yep. Well, thank you very much for that. Thanks for keeping the song afloat. We were just in New Orleans recently. Had a really good show at Tipitana's, and it was a fun night.
I heard about that. I had a Zune back in the day. I don't know if you remember Zunes, but I had videos on my Zune, and the one that I watched all the time was Almost. I
Yeah.
love that song. That is my favorite song of yours, and I don't think it
Thank
gets
you.
enough credit. Like I think that is such a clever song, and it's so catchy, and it's great. I love it.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
So I wanted to ask you about when you were starting out. So, what were you listening to when you put together Bowling for Soup? Like, what were your biggest influences at the time?
Well, I grew up in the 80s, so I was an 80s metal kid, Motley Crue, Ozzy Osbourne, Rat. That's what I was listening to most of my life. I started to get into heavier music towards the end of high school. Testament was my favorite band. But the minute I heard the Descendants, the Ramones, early Green Day, um, man, everything just changed for me. I really just liked um, I liked the simplicity of the songs. I liked the subject matter of the songs. It just really spoke to me, and just the energy as well. So pretty much, I would say Screech and Weasel, Descendants, as I said, Ramones, No Means No, bands like that.
Yeah, I love. I've gotten into Screeching Weasel lately, and I really like them a lot. I can
Yeah.
see how they're a precursor to a lot of the pop punk stuff.
Oh yeah, if you listen to really early Bowling for Soup, like go back and you can stream them, the self-titled and then a record called Cellmates, you will absolutely hear the Screeching Weasel influence because even from the notey, picky guitar solos and things like that, that was and the I mean, we were real
Mhm.
big into all of that stuff.
Yeah, I like them a lot. And I wanted to ask you. So, when you started out, you go from a local band to Grammy nomination, Emmy nomination, all that stuff. Like, at what point did you really understand, like, okay, I'm really going to do this? This is going to be my life, and I've made it.
Well, you have to understand that there's a lot of time in between all of that. We started in 94. We didn't get signed until 2000. We didn't have a hit until 2003. So we were 9 years in before we were even out of the van. And, at that point, we were really in debt and on Grammy. And then we got nominated for a Grammy. But, it wasn't that just, we had been really, really just surviving for a lot of years. But yeah, I mean, I would say probably the Grammy nomination is, that's when I started to get tattoos on my arms, basically. It's like once that happened, I was like, I think if anything else, I can figure out some way to stay in this industry, even if the band doesn't work out. And so, but yeah, but again, that was 10 years in, and we're only 31 years in now. So yeah, that was a third of the way into the band before I realized that this is what I was going to do for a living.
Yeah. Well, you've done a lot of stuff. Another thing I wanted to ask you about was the like you got involved with Nickelodeon, like the Jimmy Neutron stuff and the Disney stuff. How did that come about?
Well, they're all different stories. Nickelodeon happened because Jive Records owned Nickelodeon Records. And so when Jimmy Neutron, when that came about or whatever, they wanted to sort of put a team player on that record or whatever. And so I was sort of hired to rewrite a song that already existed. And so that was cool. I mean, Disney is kind of the same thing. I mean, they came to me, they wanted me to do the theme song to Phineas and Ferb. And and I on the same day I got to read for a part, and I ended up getting cast as Danny from the band Love Handle. So really, the band itself, it's not like it's a clear path, but quite frankly, it sort of leads to all these other opportunities because there's people out there that are big fans of the band, and that's worked out really well for some of these little side projects that end up being such a big part of our history and our legacy.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask you, so I'm what I do. I'm known as like the happy, funny guy doing what I do on stage and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I feel like you are probably been pigeonholed in that way as well, which I
absolutely.
mean,
Yeah,
which is fun. I mean, you want to be that person, but you
sure.
you can't always be that person. So there's I think of it as like isolating part of yourself, like the a pure essence of that part
Mhm.
of yourself to
Yeah,
bring forward. But also like if I'm happy, I'll write like I write comic books and I'll write happy comic books and stuff like that. But then when I'm sad, I'll write like horror stuff. And
yeah,
and I feel like you stay on the light side of things for the most part. And I
yeah.
wanted to
Well, yeah.
ask you about
Well, first of all, it is hard to be on all the time. But yes, I am considered kind of the happy guy. I was always the funny fat kid growing up, and I am, I think, probably the happiest person I know. I'm a very, very positive person. But I have my demons. I deal with some mental health stuff, anxiety and depression. And so, it's one of those things where sometimes being on all the time, it can take a lot out of you. It can be exhausting. So you just have to really make sure. And this is, 15, 13 years of therapy and medication for me to be able to sit here and say, you know, uh, you got to take care of yourself and self-care and these other things. But yeah, as far as writing is concerned, it depends on what I'm writing for. Really, my mood doesn't come into play if I'm being honest. For Bowling for Soup, I know what kind of a song I want before I sit down to start writing it. But I've been really lucky in being able to do things like I have a country album out under my name, Jarrett Ray Reddick, and that allowed me to put a little bit more emotion into some things. And then I've got a couple of other side projects here and there, and I tend to write for other things. So for me, my mood might affect the idea, but
mm,
really what kind of song I'm gonna sit down and write is really just based upon what it is I'm writing for at the time. And
right.
so, but yeah, I mean, but I definitely get that. I think music is kind of like that, right? You want to listen to some people like to listen to heavy music whenever they're sad, and some people like to listen to sad music when they're sad, and some people like to listen to Bowling for Soup when they're sad. And I think that's what's great about music is that it's everybody finds a different kind of magic in it.
Right. And I like that about Bowling for Soup is it's been dependably happy
Yeah,
and and people appreciate that. It's nice to be able to go to something like that and it be that
yeah.
way, you know.
Thank you, man. Yeah, and I agree. I think that's the reason why we haven't, I mean, really evolved much. I mean, I think we've gotten better. We're better players, better singers. But as far as like the overall niche that Bowling for Soup fits into or fills, we I never wanted to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. Like I want you to when you buy a Bowling for Soup album or you listen to a song, for the most part, I want you to know what you're going to get. And so, a smile on your face is most of the time my goal in all of that.
Yeah, it's reliably fun and good. That's another thing. Like you can write a hook like nobody's business. Like
Thank you,
that
man.
is that just innate to you, or is that you got like a process for that?
Well, I think it's, I usually start with concept and then you got to make sure that the hook is there. I mean, sometimes it takes a lot of tries to get there. There's a lot, there's a lot of songs that don't ever see the light of day, but for me, you know, I think I'm really lucky to be in a genre where, you know, the hook is the main part for it's sort of just that's the focus when you're going in,
Right.
and so it's very easy for me to concentrate on that and to make sure uh that I get that I nail it, and if I don't, then I'll kind of go back and rework it, and sometimes you just kind of give up, move on to the next song.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's just very obvious by listening to any of your music. It's like what you're doing with that type of stuff. It's just what sounds good. And like if I listen to any of your songs, I'm like, yeah, this guy gets it. And
Thank you, man.
that's gold because there's so many people on the radio that can't do that, in my opinion, anyway.
Well,
So
I appreciate that very much, man.
yeah, it's great. Also, I listened to some of your country stuff, which I wasn't that aware of, and then I listened to some of it. It's really good, and I was wondering if you're gonna do like a country voice or like something like that, but it
Yeah.
was still you, but it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, well, I mean, I grew up in Texas. I
Mhm.
have listened to country music my whole life. I actually do have a Willie and Waylon tattoo, and
Mhm.
so it's part of who I am. It's part of my songwriting, even in Bowling for Soup. If you're a Bowling for Soup fan, you'll notice I like to tell stories. That all comes from the country side of things, and so yeah, it kind of that does definitely come natural to me for sure.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Also, I listened to this song, which is
Yeah,
really cool, and I liked it a
yeah.
lot. It was
Thank
really
you.
good.
Thank you.
Did-
Yeah, well, I did the original version of that many, many years ago, and of Sonic the Hedgehog, of Endless Possibilities, and I saw an opportunity to be able to cover it and cover my own song, and get it out there, and so I did that with Punk Rock Factory and special guest Wheatus, and we have a big show coming up pretty soon, and so it's just a good time to get that out there.
Yeah, are you a video game guy, or is it like
Not a
you seem
video
like
game
you're
guy.
very very busy,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all the time?
I am not a video game guy at all. Now, we do play a little bit of PGA golf on our PlayStation on the road, but other than that, no, I have plenty of other stuff to do. I would feel very guilty if I sat down and played video games for hours.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I felt less guilty lately, but I understand. I have one more question.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
um, so I've always felt like a kinship to you. Like I felt like we were kind of had similar personality types. Have you ever taken the Myers-Briggs personality test?
I have not. No, I don't think I ever. Actually, you know what? I think I have done that. I'm wondering if I did that and what? Tell me. What? How do the results work?
So they give you four letters. There's I, for example, am a ENFP, which is the campaigner, but it's like feeling, thinking, judging. Like it gives you like
Got
little
it.
letters like that. But anyway, I
Got it.
was just curious if you had ever done that because I was like, I bet he's something like that.
I'll have to ask my wife if that's the one that we did. I know we did a few things in therapy and stuff, and I tend to I tend to not be able to remember what things are called for some reason. I'm really good at remembering events and faces and things like that, but the names of things I'm really bad at.
Yeah, if you think about it again, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
It can give
I'll
you a
hit
little
you,
bit of
I'll hit
yeah.
you up and let you know what I am if I have taken it.
Yeah, it's neat. I thought it was helpful. But any advice for growing new artists?
Absolutely. Do it because you love it. And honestly, not for any other reason. It's a, all these entertainment industry's hard. It's tough. It takes a lot out of you, even with successes. But do it because you love it. and build those socials, and you'll be just fine.
Amen. Well, it is so nice to meet you. I love you. I love your music. And I thank
Thanks,
you very
Josh.
much for coming on. I hope you have a good day.
Thanks for having me, brother. Talk to you soon, okay?
All right, buddy. Have a good night. I'll see
You
you
too.
later. Bye.